Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak. And how's everybody doing out there? We're in August now. The year is flinging by as quickly as we can get into it. And I happen to have a special guest today. My wife decided to join me.
Hello.
So she decided she wanted to be off camera. She said, "That's the only way I'm doing this. I don't want to be on camera. Just pointed at you." I was like, "Okay, we can do that." We've done that before. You guys have heard her speak before. She's just as beautiful on my end, but I'm a little biased, a little partial. Yeah. So yeah, we've got a lot of things happening, a lot of things coming up. We have a trip coming up right around the corner.
Yes, we have a trip coming up to Grenada next month.
Right.
Sandals, Grenada.
Which both of our first comments when we heard about Grenada was, "Where's Grenada?" So we had to Google it to find out exactly where it was at. And I think we actually saw something on a travel blog or heard something on a travel blog
Yeah, I
about it.
follow a podcast where there's a group of travel agents that they actually primarily talk about Disney and Disney cruise lines, but they do book other kinds of trips. And one particular lady travels a lot, and she said that she'd been to all the Sandals resorts. You and I got married at a Sandals resort years ago in Jamaica. We had a great week there, and she had said while I was listening to one of the podcasts that hands down Grenada, Sandals Grenada was by far one of her most favorite locations of all the Sandals resorts.
Yeah.
So that kind of steered our
I remember you hearing that one because you were like, "Hey, check this out," because she was talking about not just the food, but the setting and the
yeah.
just how beautiful everything was and how unexpected everything really had become. Um, she was talking about how she'd been to different ones, and she was like, "I was just blown away by this experience." And we
Yeah,
were
I think
like,
it's a pretty quiet
"Okay,
I think it's a pretty I think the island in general there is from what I understand, it's very natural.
hmm
There's not a the commercialism has not taken over there. We have looked we're going with other couples. There's going to be 8 of us total. We've been planning this trip probably since sometime last year.
hmm
And we looked at the different Sandals resorts. We actually looked at I think one that we all thought we might would like was I think it's the Dominican Republic,
hmm
but once we really got to digging into that one, it seems like that one has a lot of commercial type stuff around it, and that's kinda what we did not want. We want something that's, a little more natural, more casual, more relaxing
yeah."
for a week of relaxing.
Well, and plus, I mean, if you look on the map, Grenada's down near Venezuela. So it's not like there's a lot of traffic that's gonna go that way from the Americas. Typically, Americans go to, Mexico and Jamaica and
Well, and the Caribbean
the
islands.
Caribbean
This is actually a
islands.
little further down.
Yeah, it's a little bit further, a little hard to get to, but still not a terrible flight from Miami. I wanna say 2 and a
No,
half hours from Miami.
I think it's more like 3.5.
Yeah, it's not
We
bad.
are at ta we are, you and I and one other friend we're actually scheduled to fly out of Raleigh-Durham.
Mhm.
That was the cheaper rate that we could find because airfare is so high right now.
Right.
So we're flying out of Raleigh-Durham on a Saturday morning, early, very early. We'll have to go spend Friday night in Raleigh-Durham the night before because I think our plane leaves at like 6, very early.
Mhm.
We fly from there to Miami, which is I think at like a 2.5-hour flight. And then we have a very short layover in Miami, and we will fly from Miami to Grenada. And I think that it's like a 3.5-hour flight. So it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Coming back, there's not Grenada's very small. There's only one airport.
Mhm.
There are not a lot of options of different airlines flying in. American Airline is pretty much our only option in this area. Delta does not fly in there. There are a couple of other options like JetBlue, but we do not have access to JetBlue here. We would have to drive all the way to Atlanta, which is 4 hours, and then they fly you to LaGuardia,
Yeah.
which is just
Which is
completely
weird going north to go south.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a lot further flight. I think it's like a 5 hour or
Yeah.
longer flight from. So we opted with the American Airlines.
Yeah.
We looked at Charlotte, it's way more expensive for some reason, and Raleigh-Durham is only, like, another 20 miles further than us driving to Charlotte or to, Charleston.
Yeah.
We have some friends, other couples that are actually flying on Friday evening, and they're flying to Miami. We will meet up with them Saturday morning because there's only the one flight going from Miami to Grenada. Same thing coming back. I
Yeah.
mean, it will be a very long day for us coming back because we cannot fly out of Grenada till like I think 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It's the only one option.
Mm.
I guess because it is such a small, I guess we kind of knew we were going to run into that when we decided to go to a place that doesn't. It's not very commercial.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm looking forward to it. We have a beautiful room booked for the week.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited. The summer is usually when I least look forward to work because I do work outside. And I've been kind of lucky here lately doing a lot of office work and then doing some shuttling at night. And working at night, it's a lot cooler. The hard part for me is just sleeping during the day, which, I'm sure is hard for you too, because it kind of disrupts the house and it's kind of putting you in a position of going, okay, I got to be careful to try to be quiet so you can sleep because I know you need some sleep, but I think it's working out okay. I think we've kind of
Yeah,
figured out a few workarounds that have done okay.
as long as you're
Um,
happy with it.
yeah. So it's it's making the summer way more tolerable this year. And this trip sort of is at the tail end of the summer. I mean, this is going to be sort of our, goodbye summer
Yeah, this is
2022.
our big trip of the year.
Yeah, it's our biggest trip.
We've been planning this one for the longest. I've actually done a couple of other little small trips myself, and I think you've got one coming up, a guy's trip, right?
Yeah.
I just came off of a week, not a week, but 4-day cruise. It was 5 days because we flew down early, but a girls trip. We did a cruise, which is the first cruise that I have done or since COVID.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one in September.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
me
it's going to
too.
be a lot of fun. Like I said, you and I both splurged, and we've got a room with a walkout right straight into the pool with a butler for the week, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to room service.
Well, a lot of people comment about, oh my God, it's so expensive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but if it's the thing you want to spend money on,
Yeah,
spend the money on the thing you want to do because, I mean, yes, we could be a little different and, save up and pay the house off and that kind of thing early. But what's to say we get to that point and then we pass away and we don't get to enjoy any of our time because nothing's granted, nothing's given. So, we learned a long time ago that if you're going to take trips, like that's the thing that we enjoy the most is going to places and see places, and sort of that is fed into our sort of escapism of watching someone like Itchy Boots on YouTube, seeing Norley go on these trips. It's that escapism idea of, oh my God, look at this person who just got on a motorcycle and decided to drive
yeah.
for three
I could
years.
never do that, and I could never do what she does.
It's crazy to think of, but it's also for us sitting at the house watching it is sort of an escape, and it's a way to see the world kind of from your couch or from your bed in our situation, laying down watching it. Of this person, going off and seeing the world from behind the wheel of a motorcycle. And it's very cool. I'm really enjoying it. I know I spoke about her on the last podcast and the fact that she was injured, but she's back on the road,
Yeah,
and there's more videos coming, and I just looked up her website. Um, it is www.itchyboots.com, and on her website, she's got all sorts of things on there, including a what's called an academy. And it says learn to capture your motorcycle adventures or become a moto vlogger. So she has like instruction on how to do the thing she's doing, which is pretty cool. Because that's kind of in my wheelhouse of I want to not only learn to do the thing, but I want to teach others to do the thing that I've learned how to do. But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, on the website, there's things you can go to see her adventures from there, or buy merchandise, or just read about her experience as a vlog.
yeah.
So I mean, all that stuff's available. It's pretty cool.
But now we do have, in addition to the Grenada trip, which is coming up in about a month. We have another trip planned for Thanksgiving. Just you and I are doing the newest Disney ship, the Disney Wish.
Yeah,
That's another one I'm really looking forward to.
yeah.
Of course, I did cruise. I did my first cruise in several years. I don't think we had done a cruise since 2019. You and I did the Royal Caribbean to Alaska. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and changed a lot of rules and regulations. And I waited until this year, 4th of July week. We went on a girls' trip cruise. The only thing we had to do different was we had to have the COVID test done. I think it was within 48 hours of setting sail.
Mhm.
We set sail out of Miami on a Monday morning or Monday afternoon. We had to have a COVID test done on Saturday. That was I guess that was the earliest or the latest. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, it was 48 hours.
Yeah.
And the only thing you had to do, I mean, I was really kind of did not know what was going to happen because I'd never taken a COVID test. That was my very first COVID test.
Mhm.
Thank goodness I had not had any issues with that up until to that point. And I was kind of very anxious about how that whole process worked, but it was very smooth. I mean, we when we got to the actual cruise terminal, we actually cruised on Norwegian out of Miami, and, we simply had to show them either a piece of paper, which we had all printed it out, there was 4 of us that went, or just an email. I
Mhm.
mean, and that was the very first thing they have a really pretty cruise terminal down there, Miami, of course, the Miami port's beautiful, and they had very well organized. They had people standing pretty much at the doors, checking your ID and your COVID vaccination. I mean, well, you had to be vaccinated. That's another thing about cruising. You have to be vaccinated.
Mhm.
So we had to show proof of vaccination, and then we had to show proof of a COVID test, a negative COVID test within 48 hours. But after that, to me, and I've cruised before many times, everything else about the cruise experience was the exact same. Now, mind you, this was not during a time when we didn't have to wear masks at all. Now, all the crew, every last single employee of the cruise line that I come in contact with had a mask on.
Right.
They did not require, and I did see a lot of guests.
This is
Or,
about a month ago too.
yeah, it was 4th of July week,
Yeah.
and now it's what? Today's the 7th of August,
Mhm.
so about a month ago, to be exact. Um, I did not feel uncomfortable, or I mean, we went to a show, we went to the lounge every evening after dinner, and, it was 4 old, the 4 of us are all over 50, but we, went to the little nightclub every evening after dinner and danced, the 4 of us together, had a great time. Got off the ship a couple times, spent the day at the private island. That was a beautiful beach day. Norwegian has done a really good job with their private island, Coco Cay in the Bahamas. But we just, it was just very relaxing. And like I say, as far as COVID or pandemic issues, it did not change my vacation at all. So
Mhm.
I was very, very pleased with that. And that's what I'm looking forward to when we go later this year.
Yeah, and it seems like they're relaxing the rules more and more
It does.
because, I mean, even this morning we were watching YouTube videos of people going on the cruise ship that we're going to be on, and I
Right.
didn't see many people at all wearing masks
Right.
on the video, so they may have relaxed that even more now.
Yeah, I know that when we came back into the US from our Norwegian trip, they did not require COVID test. Prior to that, you had to get a test going onto the ship and then before you got off the ship. Now they have relaxed the getting off the ship
Mhm.
portion. And I've heard whether or not I've not really done any reading on it. I will check up on it before we go. Of course, in November, latter Thanksgiving week is when we're going to be gone on a cruise. By then, we may not have to be tested before we leave. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, and speaking on that, I mean, this you and I have had exposure to COVID.
Just recently,
In the last couple of weeks, it wasn't from the cruise; it was from something much later. But, you and I did go through that. I commented a little bit about it on my end, but I kind of wanted to talk to you about your experience. How did you feel getting COVID? I mean, it was one of those things that I know it was looming of us going, I don't know, did I have it before? Did
yeah,
maybe I have it? And then
and I still don't know the answer to that because everybody's experience that I've talked to, even before I actually had it, everybody's experience was different.
hmm
I'm not 100% sure that I've only been back. I've had the vaccination. I've had
hmm
2 of the shots. You've actually had 3. I
yeah.
have not had the 3rd booster.
Apparently there's a fourth out there. I didn't
That's
even know
what I had
that.
also heard that. I cannot I cannot say whether or not being vaccinated made it any easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, eh, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I felt like I had it on this day before this was even really a thing," or "I felt like I had it at a certain time." I'm not sure about that. Thank goodness I'm not a person that gets a really bad cold often. I do know that I had already been home from the cruise for several weeks, so I don't think it had anything to do with exposure from the cruise.
I don't either.
I started early in the week with a just a scratchy throat, which I thought was just sinus drainage. And as the week, and I actually tested on a Tuesday evening and tested, we like everybody else, I got the free COVID test in the mail, the 5 original ones they sent out. I took that test on a Tuesday evening and it tested negative. Wednesday morning of the very next morning, I woke up and did not feel well. I did not take my temperature because I'm not one of those kind of people.
Right.
Whether or not I had a fever, it is a very good possibility because I was extremely cold that day at work, which is unusual for me. I'm at 57 and a half, menopausal woman. I'm not a I'm not a very cold natured person. That day I was very cold. I
Yeah.
felt like I had been run over by a Mack truck.
Hmm.
When I came home that evening, I think you might have been working third shift that week. So
Well,
I
the
couldn't
day
tell you how I felt. I couldn't tell you, "Hey, I think I'm sick."
that was the day I taught during the day and then came home and slept
Yeah.
and then worked at night.
So there was no communications between the 2 of us that I could say, "Hey, I think there's a good chance that
Yeah.
I've got COVID." I actually did stay at work probably longer than I should have because I'm one of those kind of people that I try hard not to miss work. I do not wanna use vacation time for being homesick. I'm not one of those people. I was actually told several times, "You need to go home," but I was like, I'm gonna stick it out, I'm okay." And, of course, when I tested Wednesday evening at home, I was positive. Um, to me, it was no worse than just a a a really bad just a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I experienced probably one of the worst sore throats I've ever had, except for when I had strep when I was a kid.
Hmm.
But it was very weird in the sense that for several days my throat hurt so bad that I would have to grit my teeth just to swallow. And then I woke up one morning after a couple days and it's like it was completely gone. No sore throat whatsoever. It's like it had never even hurt.
Hmm.
I did cough a lot. Matter of fact, I felt like I had been doing stomach crunches. I coughed so much, but then it's like a switch flipped and
Yeah.
that stopped.
Yeah. I had the moment where I thought, yep, I've got COVID now. You coughed and like
Yeah.
some wetness hit my face, and I was like, there it is. I've got it. I know I've got it. And it was like a day or two later. I was like, I don't feel well. Ah, crap.
But like I say, as far as I never really experienced. Like I said, that people that I've talked to that's had it, everybody's got different experiences.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I lost my sense of smell, but I did have the congestion, the nasal sinus congestion enough that I didn't feel like I was smelling things as well as I normally do.
Right.
As far as taste, I never lost my taste. I did lose my appetite for several days where I did not want anything at all to eat, and I felt like I had literally been chewing up a metal can. Whether or not that was part of it, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, mine was just sinus drainage and the cough.
Did you ever have the metallic?
Nope.
Okay.
And I had the fever where it would hit me that first day. It hit me for 3 hours and then it left. And then, like for 3 nights in a row, I'd get a fever for about 2 to 3 hours. It's always the same time at night. It's like between 3 and 5. I'd get a fever and then it would leave, and I was like, well, "That's just weird." But that one night that I slept on the couch upright, that seemed to help a lot because that allowed the drainage to then just go down instead of
You
being stuck in
definitely
my throat.
sounded when you had it, you sounded way more, um I had more of the sore throat and coughing part of it.
Yeah,
You, on the other hand, seemed to.
mucus.
Yes,
Mine was
you
mucus.
sounded like somebody was holding you underwater,
Yeah,
where mine never sounded I don't think ever sounded like that.
yeah, mine was mucus related. Of course, we did the test and I looked at yours and your 2 little lines. The second one was kind of faint, and it read the box, and it says, "This may take up to 15 to 20 minutes to get an accurate thing." And within a minute, both of my lines were dark, and I was like, "Ah, crap."
Yeah, now I will say that because you were asleep on that Wednesday night whenever I tested and it hit and it was positive. And it is like a 15-minute waiting period.
Mhm.
It it did take a little bit longer for my line to show up, and of course I was very what's the word? Um I was in denial
Yeah.
because I was adamant about the fact that no, I don't have COVID.
Is it the same as taking a pregnancy test? You're like, no, that can't be right.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've done that, but I was like, and then I actually remember I took a picture of my positive and I sent it to my buddies, Lori and Cheryl. And I was like, the line's very faint. I don't think I have it. And of course, I sent it to my boss and the few people in my department that I would need to communicate with something like that. And I was like, I'm still don't. It's too faint. I'm not positive. And of course, like 7 people at one time text me back. Do not come into work tomorrow. You cannot come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now yours, on the other hand, the minute you dropped
Yeah.
the snot, I guess that's what's the.
It was immediately turning. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
I
Here we
don't know, and
go.
I'm still so I don't know. I still don't understand how that whole COVID test works. I'm sure there's the
I
people
don't know.
listening, there's probably not probably everybody out there now has done at least one COVID test.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and that
just
was
not
my
sure.
first. I mean, all this time I haven't taken
I'm the
one till
same. I was
just
the
now.
same way.
So, but I know that everybody's experience is different, and there are a lot of people out there that have not responded well. I mean, there's a lot of people who've passed away from this. But luckily, I mean, we're in the category of we're pretty healthy, and
Yes,
it
I don't
really
know. Like I
maybe
said,
it's
I
the
have
time
mixed
frame,
feelings about.
maybe it's the fact that it's been out for a while, so maybe it's a
Is
lesser
it the common cold?
dangerous kind. I don't know. I don't know. I do know it's apparently highly contagious, and
Well, so is the common
but
cold.
that's why they have the quarantine time. They're like, we're gonna do this. Now, the cool thing that I thought was really neat was my work was like, listen, we're gonna give you 3 days off just because we want to make sure nobody spreads this. So
Yeah, my work did
they didn't
my
charge
work
me. I
did
didn't
not
get
do that.
charged extra time, which was really awesome of them. Not all companies are like that. Yours apparently wasn't like that, but
No, they did not give me any grief about it, and
right.
I worked 3 days 1 week, and then I was off 2 days. I submitted my time minus those 2 days, and that was I mean, I took the hit for that as far as pay goes, and I understand that. So, and then I did do so I have the advantage of having a laptop that I can keep up with stuff at home, a company issued laptop. And I was able on my 3rd day, I only had to miss 3 days of work. I missed a Thursday, Friday, and a Monday. And when I went back to work on Tuesday, I was able to claim the time that I worked online. I think I probably worked a little more than 5 hours, but I wanted to be honest about it. I put down just 5 hours because over the course of Thursday, Friday, and Monday, I probably did spend a little more than 5 hours making sure that my emails were current and, and communicating with people at work on anything that needed to be taken care of. But I did log 5 hours for that Monday, and then I worked the rest of the week. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was all good. I mean, I was glad. I was extremely appreciative that my work did not make me use vacation time
Yeah. Well,
because
mine, I mean, I had to quarantine before I got it, and then after I got it, I had to
right.
quarantine. So I ended up out of work for
I think you ended up out of work
7 full work days
7 work days. I
because it
only
was 5 days within a week, and then the Thursday, well, yeah, the Thursday, Friday before, yeah. So 7 work days of me sitting at the
yeah.
house, and of course, being quarantined, you don't want to go out and get people
Yeah.
sick, so you're just stuck in the house. So I watched all of Netflix.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
watched
you watched
all
the
the
whole.
shows. Um,
I did not, on the other hand. I didn't
You
the
came in one day and I was watching The Flash and you were like, "Is it good?" And I was like, no, not really." You were like, "Why are you watching it?" I was like, "I don't know. It's weirdly sucking me in, but it's really awful." And you're like, "What's awful about it?" And I went, "Okay, so this episode's called Grodd, and there's a big giant gorilla that can control people with his mind." And you're like, "What?" And
well,
I go, "Not only that, this isn't the first time Grodd's been in an episode as the main villain, so
I was lucky in
I'm
the fact
stuck
that I
watching
only
this."
had, let's see, I only had, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I went back to work on Tuesday. But I did not go outside. I mean, I tried really hard to make sure that you were the only person that I exposed.
Yeah. Well, but you're also not the binge TV kind of person.
No,
I mean,
I did a lot of reading, and I've also heard people say that that when they've had it or somebody in their house has had it, they've slept a lot. I,
yeah,
on the other hand, honestly, did not sleep any more than I normally do.
yeah.
Now I was extremely tired. I do remember that. And when I went back to work that Tuesday, I felt like I had been put through the ringer that first day. I
Mhm.
came straight home from work and ate a little bit of dinner and went straight to bed to
Yeah.
rest. But yeah, I'm glad that's over with. And I'm hoping now that we have some antibodies built up so that come September we don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that messing up our trip to Grenada.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things you go, we can check that box.
Yeah,
Had it,
I'm
done with
hoping.
it, move forward.
I do know that you can get it again because I
Yay.
mean, yeah, I mean, I know you can get it a second time, but I'm hoping that with our trip coming up next month that we should have. Matter of fact, your mom, being a medical person, she made a comment last night that we should have
Antibodies for like
antibodies
90
for
days or
about, yeah.
something.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that carries us through and we don't mess. It doesn't mess up our Grenada trip.
Yeah. Of course I listened to Rogan on a few of his podcasts on Spotify, and he made a comment that his producer, Jamie, that when they do these antibody tests, and I guess the antibody tests, they'll show whether or not you've been
Yep,
exposed
right.
already. And apparently Jamie doesn't remember ever having COVID, but they've taken, because they have guests on the show all the time, they take antibody tests all the time. And every single time he's got like a bold line on the thing that tests positive saying that he's got more antibodies for the thing because he's been constantly exposed. But he's like, I've not been sick during any of this. He goes,
Mm.
I don't know why this thing keeps showing that I'm
I was
positive or
actually gonna get it's been I guess maybe when all this first started, it's been I'm not sure if it's been 2 years. Has it been 2 years already?
yeah.
I went with Lori and Cheryl to a blood drive
hmm
for the Red Cross at I think like Central United Methodist Church here in town one evening. After work, we were gonna, donate blood. The three of us went in there together, and the reason we chose that particular blood drive was it was actually given they were actually testing for for the antibodies at that time. So the three of us thought, okay, we'll go give blood. We'll
Get
also
tested while you're
we'll
there.
get tested
Yeah.
while we're there to see if we have the
Yeah.
antibodies if we've had it. We knew that Cheryl she had actually had it because she
hmm
had it back when it first all this first started.
hmm
But of course, I, being the lame bleeder that I am, could not give blood enough that they were able to do anything. So I've never had the antibody test done. I guess you hadn't either, right?
No.
No.
No. And up to this, I felt like I'd had it back in 2019, like the month of November that year. I coughed with a dry, hacky cough, and all the symptoms they said, about your low grade fever feeling like, and you had a dry, hacky cough. I felt like the entire month of November of 19, I felt like that. But it's one of those things that I just kind of worked through, and then it went
Yeah.
away, and I was like, okay, well, I guess that was nothing. But then later on, when this thing come out, I went, I must have had it then. Yeah. And a lot of people did that. I mean, a lot of people I talked to, they were like, I think I've had it before. But nobody wanted to run out and get an antibody test because they were like, yeah, I just don't care. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Like I say, I
If
don't
I
know.
had it, what's it going to change if I test
Right.
positive now? I don't really care. And of course, then you find out that the antibodies are really only going to help you for the first 90 days. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the new claim that you hear. But it is one of those things that there was no history of it, so there was no idea of what it
Yeah.
meant and what it was going to do and how it was going to react and all that stuff. So, that's part of it. But I do want to tell people out there that if you're going to watch The Flash on Netflix,
Don't.
it's really terrible, but I appreciate what it is. Okay, so here's the genius of the show. They figure out how to bring back characters after they supposedly pass away on the show because they have time travel and they can go to inner dimensions and they can go to other worlds and they can change the past and then the person's back and there's a genius of the show that sort of trumps the hokiness of it. But the plot line of the entire show is we can fix it all if we just get faster. If Flash can just be faster, that's the secret to all of it. Is you just got to be faster. So yeah, I'm still gonna watch it. Matter of fact, I was watching it this morning when you got up
Yes.
because I was like, I don't really want to get into something, but I'll watch this. Now, I did watch something this morning that was pretty cool that I know you're not gonna watch.
What?
Uh, it's called The Prey or Prey, Prey.
No, that was the Predator thing.
That's the
No,
Predator
nope,
thing.
not
It's on
in.
HBO.
No.
So I remember Predator back in the days. You do too.
Yes, that movie's been remade like 75
Arnold
times, right?
Schwarzenegger, and
I don't know that
there's this invisible alien that
yes,
hunts
I think I
them.
might have seen bits and pieces of it back
You know,
then, but no, it's not. That's
Governor
not my cup of tea.
Governor Jesse Ventura was in
Yes.
it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know, the
No.
Governator, which ironically Arnold Schwarzenegger became a governor too. So two governors got killed, or
Was
one of them
Arnold
got killed.
Schwarzenegger the Predator, or was he?
He's the good guy.
He's the good guy.
He's
Yeah.
the guy that ended up killing the
Okay.
Predator.
No, like I
Yeah.
said, that's a movie that's been
So
redone
that
to
movie
death.
made so much money. They were like, we need to make more of these. And then somewhere along the way, they started doing like the Friday the 13th movies, and they were just like, let's put them against the Predator. Yeah, or Predator against Alien. And then they were like, oh, these are great. We should do more of these. And then I think at one time there was one, Predator versus Jason.
Yeah,
And I was
I'm not
like, all right, you guys are just
not
way
into any
overboard.
of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But this one's good. I actually like this one. This one was sort of a precursor Predator of him coming to Earth before civilization had really kicked off. This is probably, I didn't look at the timeline, but it follows a Native American girl and her family and how she's trying to learn to be a hunter, and she comes across French trappers in the area. So this is like early settling America, and this predator thing arrives and decides to start wreaking havoc, and it's done well. The show, the way it's filmed is good. The way they did the thing is good. The only part that I didn't like was the fact that the French trappers, they just had them speaking French and you couldn't tell what they were saying. And I was like, okay, but like there's way more speaking French in this than there should be for us not to know what they're saying. And unless you speak French, you're just sitting there going, mm-hmm, yeah, okay. It's sort of like watching TV in another country. You're just like,
Yes, but
oh
can't you
look,
use
there's that thing.
does it
Nope.
it doesn't translate
Even
if you've got on closed caption?
even with closed caption, it's got the French words, and I'm like, I took French in high school. That one means danger. Yeah, I know that one. I don't know. They're on to the next thing.
Yeah, no.
And they're dead. Oh, never mind. They're dead. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. It just came out this weekend, so it just so happens I woke up early and I got to see it, and I was pretty
Well,
excited
now
about it
we are actually the only thing we watched together. I
last
mean,
night.
we watch Itchy Boots.
Last night we watched a
I
show.
know, but I mean, we watch it. We watch Itchy Boots when she comes out with a new one. That's something that you and I watch together. We're watching only is it Only Murders in the Building?
Only Murders in the
Only
Building,
Murders in the Building. It's
yeah,
on second season. It's great.
which is fantastic.
Absolutely love that show.
The only weird thing is the way she speaks. She's got this thing with her voice where it's almost like it comes from the back of her nose.
Yeah, that's Selena Gomez.
And it's a very, yeah, Selena's, there's something the way I can't even duplicate it.
But see,
It's
I'm actually loving her in this role.
She's great in it. I mean, everybody's great in it. All the characters are super
There's
great.
so many stars in this one.
Yeah.
I had actually heard about this show on my Disney. I can't remember it's what the exact name of the podcast is. I listen to every single Monday morning. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. It's I had heard these guys Disney Dish podcast with Lynn Testa and Jim Hill. Listen to it every single Monday morning. Absolutely love it. Been listening to them for years. They were just talking in general, and something was said about Only Murders in the Building. It's actually on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a Hulu fan because of the commercials, but this show's worth it. And I thought, okay, both these guys are talking about Steve Martin's in it. Actually, Steve Martin is executive producer and one of the writers on it. And Martin Short and Selena Gomez. And I thought, wow, that's a weird combination, but they are so great together. She actually does. She has some kind of health issues.
Yeah.
She doesn't do her performing. She's a singer. She was actually a Disney kid. She actually was on the Disney, whatever that show is, the Mickey Mouse Club or something like that. That's how she got her start. Or, no, it was actually
she was on Barney and Friends.
Barney.
I love you. You love me.
But she did something with the Disney Channel when she was younger too.
Alex Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Okay, like I said, she was a regular on the Disney Channel for one of their shows that used to. I've never watched it, but that's how she got her start.
Yeah,
and of course she is a singer. She's got several, very good hits, and she toured, and but then she
has lupus.
Yes, she has lupus.
Yeah,
I had read that she does not do the touring thing anymore. But to me, you think about somebody her age because she's very young. when you look at Steve Martin and Martin Short, they're in their 70s, but the three of them blend together so well, and they are so funny together.
Says she got a kidney transplant and went through
Yes.
chemotherapy, and right now the lupus is in remission.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she and she has been catching, or for years, caught a lot of slack on social media because she had put on some weight, because she's not the thin model looking type that she was when she was super young and touring. But I'm sure a lot of that has to do with her health. People are so rude at times, but I love her. I think she's great. I think this show is great. We're in the second season, and we got to be getting close to the end of the second season. I do like the fact that Hulu does one episode per week, so that you do have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I do like that.
It says that her voice is different right now because of the lupus,
Yes.
because of an effect
Yeah.
that it had with her vocal cords.
Because I've actually seen where people have but they actually criticize and give her a hard time on social media that have been watching her on the show
Yeah.
about her voice, but I had read that it's because of her health issues.
Yeah. The show is great though. The show is really smart and funny. Everybody in it's funny. The writing is really smart.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it also.
But yeah, you and I watched the show last night on Netflix.
A little different.
Called Uncoupled, with Neil Patrick Harris as the main character. In New York. I mean, New York is actually a big part of the story.
Yeah.
But Neil Patrick Harris he's a gay American actor who played Doogie Howser when he was younger. And
I never watched that.
As he got older, he's done a lot of roles. Everybody remembers him from the How I Met Your Mother show.
Another
that you
show
hated.
I did not care for, did not watch, did not like his character. What few episodes I actually watched, I guess because you were watching it, because you watched a lot of it, right?
I did.
I did not care for his character at all.
Yeah.
But like I say, I had never watched him in Doogie Howser. I had never watched him in How I Met Your Mother, except for just bits and pieces here and there. Was not impressed. This is a different show. It's not for everyone. It's actually created and written by the guy that did Sex and the City, which of course I've seen all of those episodes in those movies multiple times. And he also, Darren Star, is that the name?
Yeah.
He also did Emily in Paris, which I've watched both seasons of on Netflix. Love it. It's a great little 30-minute show.
So the cast is mostly gay couples going through situations, and the one straight lady, Marissa Harden,
She
she's
plays
in it.
his business associate. I mean, she's
the woman who's
one of the clients.
one of his clients. Yeah, I guess his
he's a real
business
estate
associate
agent
also.
Yeah, he's a real estate agent in New York.
But it's about going through breakups and being of a certain age and what it's like trying to find how you're supposed to move forward when you're blindsided by a breakup of some kind. And in this, he plays a guy who's been in a relationship for 17 years, and he's almost 50, and his partner turns 50, and at the birthday he's like, yeah, I'm leaving you. And it's funny. The show's funny. The show's it's got a lot of intimate moments between
gay men,
same-sex partners,
actually men. But like I say, it's not for everyone.
But I thought it was done well. I thought
it was done well. Yes.
It's still if you don't look at the fact that it's same-sex couples, it is just a love story. It's a heartbreaking love story.
Right. It is someone's journey of being an over 50-year-old person whose life all of a sudden takes a turn that you didn't see coming from anywhere. And how you deal with that, while you continue to work because you have problems, because you have responsibilities, right? So they've done a really good job of telling a story
with your friends that health issues and other things that come up, and you're trying to navigate all that. And I thought the show was really smart, the way it was written, and the way and all the actors in it are great.
It goes through all the trials and tribulations of a long-term relationship, and when that's no longer there, what happens with friends, coworkers. I mean, because
who gets the friends,
right?
That was the moment he's sitting at the single table, and he's like, I guess you got the friends. And he's like, well, you did leave me. He's like, yeah, fair enough.
But like I say, it's different. It would be one of those, it's actually a show that I'm sure if you could tell within the first episode if it if you want to continue to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I can't help but think that it's got to help someone out there who may be growing up as a closeted person who hasn't come out and said, "Hey, I'm gay," and to see that you can live a fulfilling life and have love and have a normalcy to your life and it be okay. Sometimes your small town doesn't agree with your thoughts or your choices, but like the old church sign says, we all sin differently.
Yeah. Well,
So
like I said, it's not
it's a choice,
right.
and it's your life. And sometimes, I mean, in a way, it's not your choice. In a way, it is sort of how you're wired. We've seen that in personal relationships. So I thought the show was great, though.
Yeah.
I really did.
It was definitely different. I am more of I don't know. I'm not a commitment person when it comes to a
Yeah,
TV show.
but the episodes were less than 30
The
minutes.
I'm definitely geared more toward. I don't know if that means my attention span is like the attention span of a gnat.
You're built. You're built for TikTok.
I'm but I know I love to read. I mean, I can stick with to me, whenever I'm buying books now, which I probably spend way too much money. I think now I work for insurance, vacation, and books
And candy,
and office candy.
office candy.
But as far as I can stick with, when I buy a book now to download, which I'm a Kindle person, but I use the Kindle app on my phone.
Hmm.
I read all the time, and I now look before I buy a book. I look to see how many pages, because I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth.
Sure,
If that makes any sense.
sure.
But as far, so I'm looking for the longest, biggest book I can buy. But yet, when it comes to TV, if you're watching a series that's like hour long, I'm like, nope, I'm out. I'm out. I don't even want to. I don't even want to start it. I don't know. It's just different. I'm different when it comes to that.
Well, sure.
These episodes were very, very short. So
Well, and it's got to be the right kind of show to capture even me. If it's going to be an hour long, it's got to be worthwhile. Um, I get lucky with a lot of shows that have good content, and there's some of those that are an hour long, and you think this should be longer. Why didn't you show me more?
it's the difference in
But
personality,
then
because I don't agree with that at all.
okay, so
Because you watch stuff that
it,
you find extremely interesting
sure,
that I would not waste. To me, it'd be a waste of time.
like Westworld is a good example.
No.
Westworld and HBO. You know, the book was written by Michael Crichton years ago. They made a movie about it. Yul Brynner played one of the main characters. They redid it as a TV show, and it's the idea of the future where you get to basically live out a fantasy life in the Old West, and the characters that you come into contact with are androids, and it's sort of like a video game, but you can choose to recycle different patterns and go on different
Yeah, I've heard you
quests.
talk about it on the podcast,
It's
and
a lot like a video game in a way.
and I've watched you.
But
Well, I've walked through the room when you're watching it.
It gets crazy when you realize that the robots become sentient and they go, we don't want this anymore, and they start fighting back, and they have a consciousness of their own, and they try to change their future, and that's when it gets really crazy. And on those episodes, as they end, I sit there looking at it going, that's it? That's where you're going to leave me? Holy crap, I got to wait another week for another episode. And I'm kind of that way right now because I'm in their latest season, and they're getting ready to wrap it up in the next couple of episodes for the season, but it's so out there that I literally have to watch the little commentary at the end where the producer or the director is going, okay, so we wanted the actors to feel this because this is what we're doing. And I'm going, oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
It
I've
is so in
watched.
depth.
I don't think I've watched any series in a while now that's been more than a 30-minute
Yeah.
show. I would really have to sit down and give it some thought. I watched Game of Thrones back in the day.
Those were an hour.
Those were an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've watched.
There was a few of those that seemed to lag on too long. But then we saw some episodes where you're like, they're going to end it here? Oh my God, this is so intense. But I want to
say that I know I watched the first season of The Flight Attendant on HBO with the gal that played Penny from Big Bang.
Kaylee Cuoco.
That one that's probably and I did not even watch the second season. Wasn't interested with it, just wasn't interested in it.
It wasn't as good.
But that's probably the last time I've watched an hour-long series. Everything else I've watched, and I really, when you get that's been it. And I've watched a movie or two. I'm not a big movie person. at all. I mean, like I say, you and I both, and you mentioned on some of your last podcasts, the two movies that you watched that I actually watched with you, I recommended because I had just while having the TV on the cruise, I would catch bits and pieces because I was in a room with my sister. We watched the one with Will Smith that he won the Oscar,
Respect and Richard.
King Richard.
King Richard. Yeah.
Those two movies, that's the first movies I've watched. And
I got you to watch Turning Red.
yeah, I wasn't a fan. But that was a Disney movie that probably wasn't a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I say, I don't know. I would rather read.
Yeah.
I mean, to each his own, right?
That's true. I am watching a little short animated series that's on no, I'm sorry, is it HBO? HBO. Yeah, HBO Max. Harley Quinn.
Ugh.
DC redid Harley Quinn as her own show. I guess with the popularity of her character in the Suicide Squad and the latest Batman stuff, she's been redone. And it's one of those characters that's kind of fun to play with. Well, this one they've got a cast of comedic actors playing all the parts, and they're all great together. It is a rated R show. It is got lots of foul language, lots of bodies being exploded, and nothing like the old DC comics I used to watch when I was a kid, where it was just pow, boom, bang. This is pretty violent, but I'm loving the show mainly because of the comedic actors.
But now I will have to say, as somebody that's not watching it,
Ron Funches is killing me as King Shark because he's got some great lines. It's just always hilarious.
I will have to say I'm not watching it, but I have been in the room when you are watching it. Seems really weird to hear Penny from Big Bang's voice as Harley Quinn and the language, because this is not something you would want a child to watch. This is definitely an adult cartoon.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was absolutely did not fit in at all was there's one character that's got a very famous female comedian. What's her name?
Wanda Sykes.
Her voice
Yeah.
does not fit
Yeah.
the character on the screen.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and that's just my personal opinion.
There's a lot of listen, the cast of this show is incredible. And if you look at these people and go, oh, I've heard them and stuff, almost everybody has done something where they've been some type of comedic actor.
Oh yeah,
and they're fantastic.
The guy from
Seinfeld,
yeah.
Jason Alexander, he's in it. Yeah, he's funny. But I mean,
like, just to show you how little TV I watch, I don't think I've ever even watched an episode of Seinfeld.
The guy who played Moff Gideon is in it. He plays Lex Luthor's voice. I mean, he's fantastic. Dietrich Bader plays Batman. I mean, it's just amazing cast.
Well, I've heard a little bit of the.
You probably heard me laughing watching the show from the other room.
I've heard you laughing. I've also heard the dial. I've actually heard a little bit of the dialogue just in the background.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch it either walking through the room, or it's definitely not a child's cartoon.
No. It's not for kids.
It is an adult cartoon.
No, it's not for kids, but it is really fantastic and really funny. And if you like dark comic humor,
which you do,
it's for you. So just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, also, the cast of this is just incredible. I can't get over all the people that are in it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I see.
But yeah, it was a surprise. I did not expect to find it. I did not expect to like it. I really turned it on thinking, stupid, somebody's redone this again. And I hit play, and like within the first episode, I was laughing out loud and grabbing my stomach, and I was like,
"See, I find that
I gotta watch
like
more."
Pretty much everything that you watch.
No, I watch some pretty awful. I mean, I'm watching The Flash, and I hate it, but I still watch it. I don't hate it. I appreciate the craftsmanship of it. There's elements of it that I'm like, I'm probably kind of impressed you pulled that off, but there's a lot of it that I really don't care for, but I'm still watching it. There's several things that have come out recently that I want to watch, and more stuff coming out. I mean, Lock and Key's getting ready to come out with their final part of the season, and Stranger Things is going to be coming out with their final part. And
I thought that one was already over.
No, that was they broke it up into two halves.
Jeez.
They did that because the one that just came out was supposed to come out during COVID, and there was a lot of school shootings that happened when this came out, and there's a big scene inside of a school, and they were like,
Oh,
we
okay.
just felt it was insensitive for us to put it out at this time, so we held it back for a year. And just if you're in a situation, please, understand that this is a show, and if this triggers you, please seek counseling.
Yeah.
And then they showed the show, and
But just think of the difference in TV now versus TV when
sure,
even 10 years ago. 10 years ago, whenever you had to buy cable from your local town, Time Warner was the big one,
yeah,
the big one that everybody bought. I mean, and let's face it, it was when you look back at what you can get now for the price,
yeah.
it was very,
We got 40 channels for almost $100.
but it was very
We had to
expensive.
pay a lot.
What?
We had to pay a lot.
Yes, it was very expensive. When were there a lot of channels? Yes, there were a lot of channels, but when you really think back to
You only
how many
watched about
channels,
5 of
right,
those.
you
Yeah.
only watched a very minimal of those channels. And that I can remember, of course, then they started with the bundle packages where you could do your home phone, your internet, and your cable together. And I remember at one point before we stopped with that, I think the home phone was our first thing that dropped off because,
Mhm.
when cell phones made it really, really, really big
Yeah,
and
we were suddenly
every,
attached to the world
well,
with our cell phone.
everybody
It's
started,
like, why would I pay for a
yeah,
cell phone
right.
and my home phone?
Everybody
Once
started,
the minutes went away, that was the big
yeah,
thing.
once the minutes went away,
Yep.
everybody started canceling their home phones. But I can still remember, and I can't even tell you now how long it's been since we canceled Spectrum for our cable needs. That bill was well over $200 a month for internet and cable.
Yeah.
Now we have so many different streaming program streaming
Services.
services
Yeah.
that don't even it's not even half of what we used to pay.
Yeah. Well, and we're almost in a position where we need to watch a show and then cancel the service and wait for a new show to come out before we
Well,
sign
I
up for
mean,
them again,
we
because there's so many
basically
of them out
the
there,
only thing that you don't have access to, of course, is
like Paramount.
we don't have access to local. We don't have access to local news. Of
There
course, you
is
can.
some
There is some, but you can keep up with that enough on
social media.
social media.
Yeah.
The other thing that you do every year is you do like to subscribe to YouTube TV during football season.
I did.
I mean,
This year we
unless
may see what else is out there. We may have some more competition this year, I hope.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I actually wish we had more competition and we live in Florence County. We do not live inside the city limits, but we don't live far outside the city limits.
Hmm.
We are, we're on county water because we're close enough to town that we're on county sewer and water. But I wish we had more options for internet.
Hmm.
We do
Yeah.
not have for a town this size. AT&T doesn't come out where we're at, and like I say, we're in a very heavily populated area. I'm
Hmm.
very disappointed over the fact that Spectrum basically holds us hostage for our
Hmm.
internet needs. I wish we had more options to choose from for that.
Yeah, me too.
Because
Me
when the
too.
price goes up, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. At least with the streaming services, even when we were with I'm sorry, we were with
DirecTV.
DirecTV, there
Yeah.
was always that backup of Dish.
Hmm.
And you could actually leave for a little while and then come back to a different there we don't have that options with our internet, and that's one of the things that I'm disappointed in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but we also have internet on our phones
We do.
if we
We
wanted
do.
to go that route.
I would love. I mean, I've know several people that's been able to do the AT&T. What is the new thing?
FiOS, it's
The
fiber optic.
fiber optics. I would, but of course we don't have that option here.
Yeah.
But I would say we definitely live in times so different
Yeah.
when it comes to what we're privy to on our televisions.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's also, because of the instant access to anything on the internet or on our services, we can watch anything at any time from anywhere. I mean, I can be at work, and if let's just say there's an accident on the road and I'm stuck in traffic and I can't move and I'm just sitting there, I can get on my phone and I can watch a show if I'm going to be sitting there for a long time. Not that that's recommended, but I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, I mean, like I say, I'm a person that don't go in stores much anymore. Everything's done online.
That's because your husband does all the
Even
shopping.
we even have meals delivered.
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels. No, not Meals on Wheels, but
Wheels bring it.
Wheels Bring It.
Yeah.
Our Marley spoon that we have delivered weekly. Yeah, we've been with them now since the first part of March.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, still love the service.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, it helps tremendously for working people.
And sometimes we don't pick the meal that we should have, and we go, I'm not gonna order this again. But you have different flavor palettes that you try, and you want to try something
It's definitely
adventurous.
made me be a little more adventurous
Yeah.
because
So we
not that I was a chicken finger French fry person every
no,
single meal, but I was not as adventurous
but
as
you would
you are.
shy away from certain
Yes,
vegetables, and you're like, I don't think I'd like that. And then once you try it, you go, oh, it's not so bad.
but
Or oh
I'm
my God, I didn't know I liked that. See, that's the thing is, like I'd heard sometime a long time ago that like your taste buds are constantly being replaced because you don't realize it, but you're damaging your taste buds all the time. What was it? Your tongue. There's three things that heal the fastest: your tongue, your eyes, and your um butthole.
yeah.
So, but anyway, your tongue is constantly replacing cells. So with that, that means that over time your taste buds are going to change, and you're going to be probably liking other foods. There's a book out there. I forget the name of it, but it has to do with the fact of the enzymes in your stomach basically dictating what you're craving. And it says that what if those are alien parasites and they're actually the
Oh,
things that's
geez.
dictating what you eat so that it terraforms to their liking
No,
and their perfect environment?
no,
No?
no,
No. Could be.
no,
Could be.
no.
You never know.
I will be glad when this intense heat lets up some because it does make a difference in
Yeah.
our Marley Spoon meal
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine the amount of money that company spends in packaging.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important, especially in
And
this
I
heat.
also wish they partnered with UPS for deliveries instead of FedEx.
Yeah, for our area, UPS is a little more reliable.
Yeah, they're a little more reliable in the sense that they don't seem to have the amount of turnover for drivers on a route.
Yeah.
They seem to have a little more loyalty. Maybe it's because they pay their people better. I don't know.
That's a shocking revelation.
Yeah, it
You
is.
mean when you pay people
But
worth what they're worth, they actually show
yeah,
up on a regular basis and want
and
to
do a good
stay?
job. They don't just drop kick
No.
it to the set it in the sun right on the front porch.
Hey,
Yeah, they
America,
actually
if you're
try to.
listening, this is
uh,
a key insight here. It's kind of the way things need to go in the world. Pay people what they're worth and they'll keep showing up. They want to do a good job.
But with that being said, we actually have a Marley Spoon meal we need to cook here in the next few minutes because you've got to go to bed early.
I have to go to bed early. That's right. And there is a show that I wanted to watch, but I'm not probably gonna watch it today. Was a movie, the Unhinged or Uncharted. That's based on a
I'm
video
not.
game. It's got Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland in it. Um, I've heard it was pretty cool. I heard it's like Romancing the Stone and Goonies, but with these two actors, and they're funny and action stars in their own right. So I don't know. I've heard it's pretty good.
Oh,
So
okay. No,
anywho,
I'll let you tell me
it's on
about it.
Netflix. I'll probably talk about it next week.
I'll listen to it on your. I'll listen to you review it on your next podcast. How about that? That's all I can commit
That
to.
sounds
That's all I'm
good.
going to commit to.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. You got anything to promote?
No, thank you for letting me kind of just what's the word, crash your podcast.
Anybody can, anytime. But yeah, I get to doing these every week, and after a while, I go, "What am I going to talk about?" And sometimes I have no problem. Sometimes I literally sit on here and go, "I really don't have anything to talk about." But I mean, that's kind of the challenge, right?
Well, I mean, I think here just in the last couple of months, you've probably been a little too busy with work and the heat
Yeah.
to reach it. I know there for a while you were doing visitors pretty not every single podcast, but pretty regularly, and it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But it's
Yeah.
also to the work that you do outdoors with this heat. It makes things a lot different for
It
you.
takes a lot
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
me.
it does.
No, definitely the working in the heat just drains me. So, I mean, again, the working the third shift does help with that. And I feel like I have a better health uh doing the stuff at night. But
But
anyway,
yeah, got to get some more visitors.
yeah, that's true. So if you're listening, you want to get on here and talk about whatever, let me know. We'll do it on Zoom.
Yeah,
And
come on, it's fun.
it'll be great, they said. It'll be
It'd be
fun,
great.
they
They said,
said.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who listens and continues to support the podcast. Thank you for all the positive notes, and yeah, please rate, review, subscribe, and give us a shout out. And as always, cue the cow.
So I want you guys to give me more likes. Give me more likes!